Begins now. Let's do it, baby. Quarantine Mania continues. Yeah. Wah, 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 wah. Let's do it again, baby. Hello. Whoa. Woo. Woo, bro. Welcome to the Comedians of Wrestling podcast / video podcast. We are zooming, baby. The podcast where comedians dissect wrestling to an unhealthy degree. I am your host, the host with Anosh, Dan Black, a.k.a. Dunsky, Black Amora, a.k.a. Donnie Wrestling. Donnie Wrestling. I can see if you're not clapping. AKA Donnie Capri from the time I went to Italy.
Stupid.
Oh, come on.
Stupid. Erase your mind, son.
AKA the modern day goof and spoof Raja. Coming at you like Cleopatra. Baby. Gabba, wee.
Gabba, wee. Gabba, wee.
Yeah. This girl, she's bad. And damn, she's fine. Oh, wow. What up, Jabroniacs? I don't think I totally nailed that.
Not a perfect person.
Coming at you. What up, everybody? We are back in action for your satisfaction. For all of our spicy wrestling reactions. And let me tell you, this year, this WrestleMania, we have never taken the concept of a go-home show more literally. We have went home. We're all in our respective homes, ready for WrestleMania 36, the weirdest WrestleMania that is still being billed like a regular WrestleMania. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys know this about this WrestleMania. It was too big for one day. It was too big. That's why. All the changes to it had to do with the fact that it was too big. That's really what it was. Bigger than Corona. But hey, let's get into it. There's so much spicy action to talk about. But let me introduce the people who you can see. If you're watching this live, by the way, our podcast during Quarantine Mania. Do I need to explain what Quarantine Mania is? I don't think so. I think they get it. All of our podcasts will be available on YouTube, on Comedians Wrestling YouTube page. You can watch them, us live doing what we do. But anyway, to my diagonal, he's a nasty boy. Nasty Newman.
Welcome to lockdown in the How About It penitentiary.
Wow, he's feeling spicy. Okay, hey, relax. All right, no problem. And you see her to my down. It is. What? Hey, oh, Jamie Lee entering. What up?
I didn't know you were. Hi, Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie, we're doing the podcast right now. Get out of here. Come on. Okay, anyway, to my down, the First Lady, Erin Finnerty.
What up? We're here. We're quarantined. Get used to it, people.
Welcome to What Up City, bitch.
Welcome to What Up City.
And the man with the plan to wash his windows during the podcast. We want to know what cleaning activity will Anosh do during this podcast. The Canadian Dream / my Canadian Nightmare, coming live from Vancouver. What is up, Anosh?
Hello, Daniel. This is your father.
You're in Vancouver, San Diego right now, right?
In Vancouver, San Diego. Yeah.
Little Vancouver.
Right.
I love that neighborhood.
Right. It is Little Vancouver.
Gorgeous. Yeah. It's gorgeous. It still has all the same flair. Everyone grab your pets and get the shot.
Grab them, baby.
Well, okay, before we get into talking about this go-home show for WrestleMania, which, I got to be honest.
This is hot
garbage. We got to say, right now, we're still doing our live Twitch streams on twitch.tv /DanBlackAttack. I'm watching Raw, SmackDown, AEW, and NXT. And we're watching pay-per-views that the patrons have been voting on. But this week with WrestleMania coming up, we will be watching WrestleMania live on the Patreon both nights. We're having a WrestleMania party on Twitch, so you will not be alone. And so you can join us on Twitch, twitch.tv/the We're going to be having fun LaCroix drinking games. We're going to be doing the Taco Bell challenge. So make sure you get your Taco Bell items. Wow, that scared me. Your cat's tail, I thought was behind me.
Yeah, nope.
But I'll announce what it is. But basically, right now we have the Taco Bell game. You're gonna need at least an item every hour from Taco Bell. This if you want to participate, this is a thing every year. Me, Arlen, and Chevs, we go to WrestleMania. We eat Taco Bell right after. It's the only time of year I eat Taco Bell personally. To be honest, I don't like Taco Bell that much. I used to like it a lot, and now I don't.
I love it. It's my favorite restaurant.
But I eat it because it's part of the WrestleMania experience. So we're trying to experience that again, and we invite all the Twitch viewers. So if you can head out to your local Taco Bell, put on a mask, get a hazmat suit, or kill a Postmate, whatever. Put the Postmate's life in jeopardy, not yourself. Get an item both nights. Get a couple items, and we'll take bites. We'll have fun. But it's going to be a great time. And also for patrons, patreon.com/comedians wrestling, still the best way to support the show. We need your support more now than ever. If you can swing it, if you can, I understand it's hard times. We're still here, Daddy. Patreon.com/comedians wrestling. We have the Cow Movie Club going on right now, formerly known as the producer level. If you're every Monday, we put out a movie dissection episode where we rate a movie with a pro wrestler out of 5 moves. Though we're getting looser with what the movies we choose because we want to choose stuff that's on major streaming services. You don't have to buy a bunch of movies and blah, blah, blah. But last week we did Beyond the Mat. That episode is up. That's a movie I gave 5 moves to. So that's a movie you should be checking out. It's on Netflix. And next week, on Monday, we're watching Bushwick, starring David Bautista. It's on Netflix. Apparently, it's a war movie set in Bushwick, Brooklyn, starring Dave Bautista. Yeah,
2017 smash hit Bushwick. He goes to he and Brittany Snow go to war with a militia in Bushwick, Brooklyn, evidently. So
a militia of what? Artisanal chocolate man?
That's what I'm saying.
Newman, that's why we chose it. What the fuck is that? It's literally like he lights people's wax mustaches on fire. I don't know.
Oat milk lattes.
Like the ironic overalls war. I have no idea. But you can check that out.
Riding a penny farther into battle.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Single source coffee.
But check that out. And for all the patrons who have joined the Cow Mug World Order on Patreon.com, you get to choose a movie. Andrew Brewster has upgraded his Patreon, and we'll be choosing a movie of his choice as well. So anyway, we're having a good time. There's a lot of content coming out of these weird times, Daddy. Weird times, Daddy. Weird times. Weird times when you're podcasting from your bedroom. But yeah, so, and also our hoodie orders are officially closed.
Closed, baby.
Closed. So we might have a couple extra. You can hit us up, but you will not be, we cannot guarantee sizes at this point.
No.
Okay.
It's over.
Okay, that's all of our announcements. Let's get into it. So shall I ring the bell, Erin? You want to mime it? Do you want to mime it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, yes, this is the go-home week of WrestleMania 36, and on this podcast, we aim to be honest, and I'm feeling very bummed out, personally.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I'm bummed out is that WrestleMania, it's like we're supposed to have Cowmania, which was going to be huge. I would be in fighting shape this week, and I'm still there, but not totally there. I wasn't at my full lifting regimen, wasn't able to go to the gym, but we were going to have our awesome live show. I was going to get to meet so many jabroniacs, put faces to names, and it's a bummer, but it's the big bummer of the whole thing is that for so long we've known that it's probably not happening. So it's almost like I don't feel anything. That's the sad part. It's like, oh my God, it's just the mania that didn't happen.
Right.
But
wrestling in general feels kind of like it's taking a big hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's in a weird. We're in a weird zone. I mean, it does not. WWE has successfully pulled off this show, right? In the sense that they filmed it. It's already filmed. We're not going to spoil anything, by the way. No spoilers on here. I don't know any spoilers, so I purposely avoid them. But they successfully shot this show, as far as we know, right? So they have pulled off having this WrestleMania. So but they've cost? Not pulled right, and they at what cost is right, because they're not pulling off the feeling of WrestleMania, which is all WrestleMania is. Most of the time, WrestleMania is a bunch of matches we've already seen. Okay, and we work ourselves into being like, no, this is the good one. This is the most important one.
This is gonna be the one.
Right. Even Hogan, Andre. People, they talk about this in the documentary, but Hogan had already slammed Andre in the past, right? But they're like, no, WrestleMania has such a magic. We put up our horse blinders, right? And we buy into it like little kids, like this is so important. We've seen Edge Orton wrestle 5,000 times, okay? We saw Bray Wyatt wrestle John Cena 5 years ago at a WrestleMania. It doesn't matter. No. This is the real one. This is the real one. You know what I mean? Right. And I think they've not made it feel like WrestleMania. And I'm not sure that's a task you can even do. But that leads to my first thing, which is, what do you think, guys? Should they have just postponed WrestleMania or do this?
Yes, they should have postponed everything. Just pause. Like, quit having Raw, SmackDown. It's, first of all, not safe. And second of all, it's like not doing anyone any favors.
Right.
Like, why not? And postpone WrestleMania so we can have it like in its full glory in like October. It's fine.
See, I don't know the math of the whole situation. It's not really what we focus on on this podcast, But think about it like this: WrestleMania is right now, the benefit of doing this is that there's no other sports on, right? That's the benefit of the thing. Is some people will be like, fuck it, I'll watch WrestleMania. I haven't watched WrestleMania in years, but I can't watch fucking Brett Favre, throw the ball to fucking Thomas Brady. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, whatever you guys are doing. You know what I mean? Whatever you guys are doing, like Wayne Gretzky. I can't watch Wayne Gretzky fucking wrist shot into the glove of Patrick Waugh. I can't.
Wow, Patrick Waugh was a huge pull for Dan Black.
Patrick Waugh, spelled R-O-Y.
Wow.
The last name Waugh, spelled with an R-O-Y. Okay.
French Canadian as fuck. That was a huge pull for you.
Thank you.
Dude. Wow, Patrick Waugh.
Well, Anosh, I can see you here. You're on the line here, and right now you haven't started washing your windows
or doing household chores.
They're looking pretty good right now, so I don't think they need to wash.
Crystal clear.
Right. I'm saying, but at the same time, so they can make new fans, right, by doing it. But at the same time, probably, like, Erin and I were going to go to WrestleMania this year, right?
Yeah.
If they push it 3 months, we'd probably still go, right?
I still would have gone. I still have the flight credit either way, so.
Yeah, and it's not like if it was, all right, well, 3 months from now when we can go out, we're going to fly to any random pay-per-view, just because we're like, now we can go. Right. So WrestleMania, like, the power of WrestleMania is still very important. So I just feel like pushing it. It's just postponing it was the way to go.
I know. I don't understand why that wasn't even. I don't
know.
Like,
they waited too long. I think.
Yeah,
I think they waited too long to pull the trigger on anything, and then
that could be if they would have canceled it, like when the NBA pulled the season and stuff. They would have had more ample time to kind of like tamp these stories down and just put everything on pause instead of just business as usual.
Right. But we have WrestleMania this weekend. It's going to be weird. And like Sheb says, which is true, as longtime wrestling fans, we'll look back at this as that weird WrestleMania. Yeah. That weird WrestleMania with no crowd.
I just hope that I hope that they use this to their advantage and kind of like with the way that like killer Drew McIntyre promo was.
Did you talk about the package in the one where they pretended he was in Scotland?
Yeah.
That was killer.
He was in like Yorba Linda or something.
He was, I think he was in. I think he was at Santa Clarita on a cloudy day.
And I hope that they try to like wrap some of those elements into the presentation of it, more cinematic or more something, and not just like what WrestleMania would have been minus people.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's kind of like what they're doing with these Boneyard match, the Firefly Funhouse match, because you can, like, there's no crowd, so you can tape it anywhere, like House of Horror style. So hopefully they do that, but I don't know.
Well, so that's like, right. Is that like, for me, that I'm trying to see the positive in the whole thing, and for me, I love that kind of shit. You know, so I've been saying like, oh, it's cool that maybe we'll get them being super creative. The only thing is, I actually don't think that's gonna happen. I actually think that like I think that I actually think that they probably had to bang this shit out, right? So I don't think that So making something like even the Ultimate Deletion they made, right? That Ultimate Deletion video was like, you know, that takes a lot of preparation. That's a full on, that's at least a day shoot, right? Let's call it at the least. That's a day shoot, right? I don't even think they have full days of just like, we're just going to use, we have AJ and Taker for the full day, and we're just going to shoot with them. I don't think that's what's going on. I think that they're shooting multiple matches a day, right? I mean, the Performance Center is in a zone that already has a shelter-in-place order happening.
Right.
They're so fucking lucky, and calling it luck is kind of weird, but that this stuff's in Florida, which is just not even really a state. And I say that as a man who has so much, it's almost my second home, Florida. As a man who has so much family in Florida, I recently discovered even more family that lives in Florida. I have so much family in Florida. That state is messed up, you know?
It's like a penal colony.
And so WWE, it's weird. It's why I say luck is that, you know, I don't think it's a coincidence that they built that Performance Center in Florida to begin with. Is that all these wrestlers live in Florida also because they, you know, they don't got to pay any taxes, and you know what I mean? And you know, not even to knock them. I mean, these guys are paid $10.99. You know, they're not exactly taken care of. So anyway, so it is WrestleMania week. It is a very strange Raw last night. The vibes were on the Twitch stream. I felt like we were all like literally watching Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio from November. But that being said, okay, so I said the things. We have a card. What I think is that, and I stand by this, I think this was going to be one of the better WrestleManias in recent history.
Yeah.
I think that the energy coming in, let's just talk about what could have been, you know? The energy coming in for Drew, I think would have been huge. The energy coming in for Edge was huge. The Fiend Cena, I feel like we would have seen Cena getting like real booed for Fiend. And I think that a lot of these filler matches, like this triple threat ladder match, which we'll talk about, like New Day, Miz, and who's the other team? Who's the other team?
Usos.
That could be a killer. That could be a killer match. The point is, there's a lot of cool stuff going on this card, and I think it would have been pretty great. Yeah. So anyway, that's talking about what would have been down in Tampa. We'll get into what we think is going to happen now that they have to adjust the whole thing. But let's get into the biggest piece of news this week, which is Roman Reigns drops out of his match.
Mm-hmm.
Smart move.
Which was
for him.
I gotta give Arlen Marmel credit for the greatest stat about Roman Reigns, which is Roman Reigns is the wrestler with the most times he was supposed to win a WrestleMania match and did not. The cash-in happened. He was clearly supposed to win, and then they last minute were like, the fans will hate that. at WrestleMania 34, it's documented that Vince changed that booking in the ring. And Reigns Brock retained. And then Roman didn't get the belt till SummerSlam. And then now he clearly was supposed to beat Goldberg. And, so Roman Reigns dropped out because of coronavirus. And he is a leukemia survivor. He's immunosuppressed. He's probably someone who should be taken care. It's nuts that from all reports we read, he had to make that decision for himself. You know?
Right. I know. That's terrible. Like so late too.
It was out of context, but there was like a clip of Triple H saying that they don't like to take more precautions than they need to with their talent.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Well, I had read that Stephanie McMahon put out and to be fair, this was before like everything went on full lockdown. And to be clear, the governor of Florida has not put Florida, the whole state, on shelter in place. So it's not actually a stay-at-home state, which, right. So she had said that, here's the precautions we're taking. And they were very limited. I mean, it was taking wrestlers' temperature when they come in the ring, like when they come into the building, which does nothing.
Pointless.
Does literally nothing. Shows nothing of value unless you are currently majorly ill and in the full swing of coronavirus.
Right. And to WWE's credit, they can't – there's no tests. I mean, we now have a 15-minute test, but there's no chance that they would be able to get that. People can't get that who are deadly ill. So, there's no chance that, to be honest, if any company could get them, it would be WWE, who has ties to the presidential cabinet. So there is although I don't think she's still, I don't think Linda is still part of the McMahon administration, but the Big Man administration, the Trump administration. But if anyone could, but that's the only way I could see this being acceptable, is if they're testing guys as they walk in the door, right?
Right.
No, the only responsible thing is to not have them.
Yeah, you shouldn't have it. I think we all agree it's ridiculous.
If you are going to have it, the only way you can actually be responsible is if you're testing all the people who are in the facility, because there's a lot of droplets flying around.
It would have to be
a wrestling match. Like
everyone who's in the facility would have to have been tested negative and then remained in isolation.
Right.
But 2 to 3 weeks.
Absolutely. The reality is there's no way to do it. I mean, it's, I say this as a dude. I say this as someone just thinking about I say this as a dude. And I don't want that to be in question at all. Okay. I'm a dude. But no, I say this is coming from the perspective of thinking about the talent. We all know why these wrestlers are showing up to the Performance Center, to get a paycheck, right? Mm-hmm. It's not their responsibility to be taken care of, And we know that if these guys don't show up, they're not getting paid. That's just how this company works. And it's frankly ridiculous, like Newman and Erin right now, you both work for companies. They're both paying you and telling you to stay at home. That's the responsible thing to do for a $1 billion corporation that's a publicly traded company, right?
Yeah.
Somehow WWE just keeps skating under the radar on this stuff. And for my whole life, there's never been a day of reckoning for them. I mean, the reality is that's it. Like, it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, if someone in the company tests positive for coronavirus and then has spread, then that certainly would be a day of reckoning.
Which is more possible than – right? It's more possible than most it's more possible than either of your jobs, because these guys are literally flying from all around the country. There's more exposure. They're going into airports. So the whole thing is insanely reckless. And I hate to be the guy, I want to come on here and just let's talk about these matches and it's dope. And to be honest, I'm conflicted. There's part of me that is I'm so happy there's wrestling, so I'm not gonna complain and whatever. You know what I mean? I get to see Cena Fiend match. You know what I mean? I get that. There's part of me there, but then there's also part of me that feels like, well, Roman Reigns, the top guy, you could not be more protected than Roman Reigns, right? Probably had his wife, I'm just guessing, being like, "You're not going." Right. You know, like if I had to guess, I would bet money that his wife was like, absolutely not. Because do you think that he consciously made that decision or that was a family decision? No wrestler ever has been like, I'm not showing up to work no matter what.
Family decision.
Right? That's like, if you leave this house, you're not coming back in. Right?
Right.
And obviously I'm just speculating. I have no proof of that at all. But I'm just talking about how human interaction works and relationships as a married man.
Mm-hmm.
So
you get told.
So, but we're talking about Roman Reigns, the top guy, and he had to. They were telling him, you got to wrestle, you got to show up. I know wrestlers. They're just gonna show up because they're like, yo, it's the job. This is how it is. There's a culture. There's a culture of like we show up, but they're really putting these guys in danger. You know, and it's not right. It's just not right.
No, it's not right. It's so dangerous too, just because like you don't know who's got it, none of these people are getting tested. Like they're coming from all over. They're in a contact sport. Like this is a huge liability.
And it's kind of like where does the whole thing kind of it's like, where does it end? You know, like, I mean, they go to Saudi Arabia, and then those flights are grounded. It's just this, you know, we're on the edge here. You know, I know it's a dangerous business, but this seems to be an ultimate test. So look, I don't know where you guys stand on it.
It's not just WWE either. Like AEW is having like a fucking tournament. Like,
yeah, I know. You know what? That's a great point. I haven't really been thinking about AEW. I mean, I did because I saw the post of people showing this tournament, and AEW guys are still wrestling. You know, none of them should be doing it. It's just the reality. It's the reality of these guys. If you want to tell me there's a couple guys, they all live together in a house. Right? They live together in a house, and
they're a pre-existing quarantine.
Right. You know what I mean? Like they're all living in the same house, and that's what it is. And it's like, even if it's like, hey, we're flying these guys down here 2 weeks early, we're waiting to see if they have symptoms, and then they're staying here, they're not flying back out. We've seen nothing like that. So, you know,
it's going to end badly. It's going to end with a lot of people sick, possibly dead. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, and anyway, so I just think that I just don't understand. I know I'm harping on this. We should move on, and it's not the most fun conversation. But you know, listen, we're not here to lie. Like our show was canceled. A lot. We all lost a lot of fun this week. You know what I mean? Forget about money or anything. We lost these priceless weekends that we get that are a fucking blast. What? I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know if I want to. All right, listen, it's fine.
What is it?
Speak on it.
What? Well, I'm just saying these guys. We don't want to see. We don't. It's easy to feel like you're above this thing. You know, it's really easy to feel like, hey, whatever, I'll take this precaution. This is what it is, and you want to get money. But I just think there's a top-down element in the wrestling world that doesn't exist across the board, you know? And it makes it tricky to be a fan, you know?
Yeah.
So it's fine. That's where I'm going to go with it. Okay, let's get into the fun stuff because, look, here's the reality. So just know what I'm saying is that that's my due diligence as a guy talking about wrestling for this whole time is that is that we're going to talk about this like it's really fun and it's awesome because it's happening, but it doesn't mean I think any of this should go down. Especially some of these wrestlers are pretty old. So that's another thing to think about. Yeah. And that's also a misconception about this virus, which is, you know, some young people are getting very, very sick. So is what it is. All right. Anyway, I don't know. Good stuff. Good.
Really
stuff.
good stuff.
What are the podcasts? Have any of you guys listened to any of the podcasts by the wrestlers? Guys like Bully Ray and like any of those guys saying anything?
No,
I don't go out of my way to listen to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I haven't listened to any of those guys. I'm curious what the wrestlers think about the whole situation. You know,
well, social media is like wrestling social media, like WWE folks, I think have been on the quieter side.
Right.
I don't know. There just hasn't been obviously no mention of COVID-19, and it's kind of just quiet out there.
Yeah. Not to mention the wrestlers. All right, whatever. I'll go here, but like these wrestlers from my account, right? I don't know necessarily what the deal with AEW, but I talk about WWE because WWE's holding this big event. This all goes across the board. It's not company specific right now, but from my understanding of WWE's health insurance situation, these guys are only protected when they're in the ring. How are you going to prove when they get coronavirus in the ring? And what if one of these guys has a lung collapse or something and can never wrestle again? You know?
Right.
I'm just saying. The whole thing's very tricky. It's a weird, weird business. Anyway, I hope one day wrestling is held accountable for this kind of stuff. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into this card. So here's the deal. Let's talk about the concept of meaningful title changes. Now, what I mean by meaningful title changes is, I've said this before, WWE tag titles don't mean anything to me. Do they mean what? I don't even know who has the Raw tag titles. I have no idea.
Street Profits?
Oh, it is the Street Profits. Yeah. The Street Profits have it. Okay. I don't know. There shouldn't be two sets of tag titles. Tag teams should be more dedicated. They actually have like a pretty good tag. If you look at the tag teams in WWE right now, they're pretty good. But the tag wrestling in WWE does not stand out in a way where the wrestlers don't feel like proud to be tag teams. The tag team division does not feel separated in its own way. It doesn't get celebrated in its own way. So, it's just there's blue titles, there's red titles, whatever. So I think any of those titles can change hands, and that goes for the women's tag titles also for me. Those don't seem to be kind of brushed over. Asuka literally was wrestling for the main belt while she was the tag champion, and they just found a way to put those on hold. So I think those titles don't matter. But let's talk about like titles that I guess, for lack of a better term, matter, which is like Brock's title, Becky's title, and Goldberg's title, right? Whatever, the Universal title. Whatever. Those, let's say that those, for lack of a better term, those matter. And the NXT title does matter, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that there'll be just keeping all these titles on the same guys just to like have the show coast by, or they're going to be like, it's WrestleMania, we still give people WrestleMania moments because it's called WrestleMania?
I think you're going to get a little of both, right? Like something to make you say like, oh, remember that weird WrestleMania, but also maybe for some of the larger stories, they'll kind of like table it until the next major kind of opportunity to show those matches.
So let's just go through it. Drew, Brock. You think Drew wins the title?
No, Brock retains.
Not anymore. I think Brock retains.
Well, Brock retains because the other thing about this whole thing is that I think wrestling is going to stop after WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. Like,
I think they're not going to be able to...
end of the season. There's no point.
Yeah, I think Raw will be full. Well, the weird thing is NXT a week from tomorrow is the Ciampa Gargano match, right? They said 2 weeks. I believe that's the Wednesday after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So we know we'll have at least one new match. NXT's planning to have content.
Yeah.
I don't think they are going to. I think these guys are. Well, I think they're making mistakes here. So anyway, point is that I think Raw and SmackDown are gonna have, even from what we see now, I think these are matches they banged out. Like Alistair it keeps having squash matches. Oh my God. Anosh seems
for real? Is this
doing
real
something
life?
again.
He's like cleaning the backyard. I really
Anosh
think he might
is
be
going
washing his deck
outside again. We'll keep you updated. You can watch on the YouTube. But my point is that Drew is that so if you give the title to Drew and then you ice him out. Because I'm saying Aleister Black, I think they filmed a bunch of his squash matches. They brought in a bunch of jobbers. He was just throwing black masses at all these guys, and then that was the deal. And they probably shot 10 of those in 20 minutes or something, right? So I'm like, if they give Drew the title, is it cool to put – I could see it both ways. That's what I'm saying. Do you think it's cool to throw the title on Drew? He held – title held high, and it's like Drew will be back, and you'll be pumped for him. Or throw it on Brock – and just let him hibernate.
I think they are going to let him hibernate because if they were going to give it to Drew, they'd want to do it in front of a crowd where people would actually be happy and cheering, not like just no one and people watching at home. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Not
Newman,
anymore.
you think Drew? You think just...
Brock retains, obviously.
Right.
And I think that unless they were able to somehow put on a match that was like really compelling and like a perfect wrestling match to make us care about him winning,
right?
It's the better move is to just hold off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right.
Anosh is drinking bleach.
Anosh seems to be making some kind of solution in the back there, and let me tell you, this guy's
really
a solution to none of my problems.
He takes this
Does
time.
He not think
while we're recording to do household chores?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea if he's doing this just to heighten his game of cleaning windows, or he literally is just doing this. But anyway,
this is a perfect heightening.
Yeah, I honestly, with Anosh, I have no clue. But Anosh is cleaning his windows again, or power. I don't know. What's he gonna do?
I think he's cleaning the deck.
Oh, he's gonna clean the deck.
Yeah,
he's gonna swab the decks.
He's power washing.
Wow, I get it. He's getting ready for the pirate-themed WrestleMania at the Performance Center by swabbing his deck.
Right.
Wow. All right.
Precisely.
Well, that's some good work. That's good. That was almost like when you had to solve one of the Riddler's riddles in like 1960s Batman.
Right.
He's swabbing the deck.
Those were so. Oh, here he is. He seems to be brushing the deck. Wow, this guy's a content master. Look at what he's up to. Look at this.
Babes supporting babes. You've heard it here.
He is. He's swabbing his deck. Anosh is cleaning the deck. Wow. Anyway, so I think that I mean, this guy couldn't distract me any more than he does.
Groundskeeper Willie over here.
Well, so yeah, Drew. I mean, it seems like we all kind of agree. Brock will retain. Drew will look really good, right? Well, that you guys think that. I think Drew's gonna win. I think Drew's gonna win.
Really?
Yeah. I think Drew's gonna win. I just think I think Drew is kind of on fire. You saw that package. I think they're like, I think if he loses, then like there's no way. It's not like Paul Heyman's going to interrupt. I can't see. I think it's just like Drew's going to look like a beast. And yeah, I just think Drew will win. I think they're just going to do it.
6 F5s and it's over.
Yeah, you always know how it's going to go, like, depending on how much time is left in the show. It's like if it's 4 minutes, you know how it's going to go down. But if it's, 15, whatever, it could be anybody's game.
Who do you guys – all right, so let's talk about the other title match. Yeah, I think Drew will win. I think that Drew will go have the title, and it'll be like, oh, let's see Drew come back and debut, and then it'll be what it is. All right, let's talk about Goldberg.
Okay, let's talk about him.
So I'm gonna stay out of this because I think I know who wrestles Goldberg because Arlen Marmel is a piece of shit, and he told me he did something that made me think that he was. I know he knew, and
I was there also, and he did try to backpedal, but mission not accomplished.
So, and then when he said it, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
It doesn't,
and
but
yeah, it made sense. So Newman, who do you think wrestles Goldberg?
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, it's that is honestly the best option.
That's what I would do.
People would love that. And Riddle can lose to Goldberg. Whatever. He doesn't need to win. Set it up.
But
he shouldn't lose, but that's the only move you could do to make the diehard fan really happy, right?
Right.
It's a great move. All right, that's a great choice. I didn't even think about that, by the way. That'd be great, Goldberg. I mean, the thing is, whoever he wrestles...
Shoot me a text of who the alleged person is.
Oh, yeah.
Dan, you can send it.
Yeah. I'll send it.
And I'll react.
Erin doesn't want to text you anymore. She told me. I'll tell you later why, but...
How dare you? I text Newman offline.
She said she doesn't want to text you anymore. She told me.
It's fine.
I'll text you who it is, but don't say it, all right?
No
spoilers. There's no spoilers zone, but... Okay. Texted. Wow.
Yeah.
That's how slow it goes. The text. I told you these iPhones. Anyway, but do you think here, regardless of who it actually is, do you think that they just keep it on Goldberg? I mean, Goldberg's got to whoever he's wrestling, he's gonna drop it. I think, right?
Yeah.
And that's why Arlen is such a prick for telling me who it is, because whoever it is. It clearly is winning. Anosh he's doing a whole routine. This guy. Ugh. All right, Cena and Fiend, a Firefly Funhouse match. What do you guys think that? What are you expecting to see? Are you expecting to see a Mr. Rogers style set with a ring in it?
Yeah.
No ring. This is a House of Horrors match on the Firefly Funhouse set.
Do you think he starts as Sweater Bray?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be
I think he'll probably start as Sweater Bray, but the weird thing is that he challenged him as the Fiend.
Right.
Does that affect it?
Well, I think
he agreed to match with the Fiend, not with Bray.
I would love for John Cena to show up, knock on the door. It's Sweater Bray, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" He doesn't even
Yeah. I would love that if Cena's they're like, "All right, you're up." And then you hear Cena's music, and he walks out, and it's like a door, and he's just knocks on it, and then opens up, and then it's like, "Take your shoes off, John."
Yeah.
You know what? There's a chance we see that. There's honestly a very good chance. Yeah. I mean, they have a show with no crowd, so they need to make things that are more cinematic. Right. My speculation is they did not have the time to make that good, though.
How could they not have the time? It's doesn't
because they have John Cena for half a day, probably, right?
Right. True.
Not to mention John had to do. I mean, they probably had to beg John Cena to show up. I mean, luckily for him, he could take a car from Tampa, right? I mean,
right.
But God, if you're John Cena, don't you just say no? Can you imagine? I guess the only reason you say yes is for Bray, right? It's he's like he's gonna put Bray over clearly, and Costco cups, Newman.
Costco, I don't know.
I got those also. Costco. Is it glass or plastic?
Glass, baby.
Never mind, bro. Mine's irresponsibly plastic.
Mystique.
I bought that before forging the title, but all right, so. But we think Cena goes over. Fiend goes over.
Yes.
What they should do is they should have Fiend beats Cena and then also wrestles Goldberg and beats him for the title. Is what they should do.
Yeah, that would be justice, but probably not going to happen.
No, I think we already know that's not happening. So, based on Arlen being a piece of shit.
Thanks, Arlen.
Shayna Baszler, Becky. I think Becky retains.
Becky retains.
I think Shayna blew it, is my opinion. I think Shayna did not deliver when she had these big moments, especially in the chamber. I again defended her a little bit with the booking. So the booking was not entirely correct. But I think Becky's a huge star. She seems to be doing good work even after all this time. And Shayna winning in front of no crowd, beating Becky clean. I don't know why. What's there to gain there? The Becky Ronda match is the money match. And having Becky lose to Shayna makes the Becky Ronda match not as good. So if Shayna wins, it's going to be very schmozzy, I think.
Yeah, exactly. They should utilize the 4 horsewomen if they can.
I mean, I don't think in hazmat suits.
Yep.
Do they have a hazmat suit for the tall lady? Do they have it in that size?
Jessamine Duke.
Do they have it in? She's the one they say looks like Avatar.
Oh yeah. Looks a little bit like a meth head.
Who says that?
The internet.
She looks like what are they called?
Read it on the internet. What are those called?
Navari or some shit. What are they called?
Navari.
Navi.
I like it for 20 years. They've been saying there's more avatars coming out. I was like, I don't think there are. I mean, I haven't seen it. How long am I going to wait for these fucking things?
I think they're coming.
Also, who cares?
I think it's coming. Yeah.
I think they shot 4 of them. I'm not even kidding.
They shot 4 of them at once.
I don't know if I made that up, but I know they shot at least 2 of them at the same time.
Woof.
Yeah, well, James Cameron is such box office gold that this guy can get like 4 movies shot in a row. Anyway.
Yeah.
And Randy Orton versus no. Let's go to Charlotte Rhea. So, any chance Charlotte wins the NXT title and brings it to the NXT program? I mean, especially given now that we don't know what's going on with these programs. I think we have a 2-hour Ciampa Gargano match coming on the AEW NXT after
2 hours.
After well, it's the only content they're gonna have is a 2-hour. What are you gonna say? I think they're gonna let Rhea beat Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't think Charlotte, because I just don't think they can spare Charlotte down in NXT to have her leave and go to NXT.
Yeah, I think they're gonna let Rhea beat Charlotte. I mean, I don't think they should, but I just think that's what's gonna happen. I think Becky will beat Shayna, and then because they're doing that, they're gonna let Rhea beat Charlotte.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Again, I'm not talking about Rhea Ripley again. She's fine. I have no problem with her. Whatever. Charlotte is just the best. No one should be beating Charlotte. Cool. So those are the 4 main titles, right? No. And then Bayley, whatever.
Who cares?
I imagine Bayley just retained, right? Like, what's the point? It's Bayley versus all the women.
Just put it on someone else, though. Like, enough.
Right.
Like, I've seen enough Bayley for a lifetime.
They gotta retire that. Match. Just retire that belt altogether. I mean, just have one women's champion. All right. I know you have 2 shows. You can't do that. And especially as they're traveling brands. But yeah, I mean, honestly, put it on Sasha. Sasha's in the match.
Yes.
Put it on Sasha. Let Sasha hold that title for a long time. Have Sasha find her stride if it's possible. Whatever.
I agree.
Guess. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Anyway, let's talk about. I think we have all right. Oh, IC title: Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan, which
there he
Anosh is back.
Anosh with a cup of tea. How lovely.
Anosh, what happened there?
He was swabbing the deck.
Oh, I live downtown, so my deck gets a pretty nasty layer of soot on it every few weeks. So I gotta give it a good mopping.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you save your chores to distract the podcast. I appreciate it.
Well, it's just a good time because I'm not chatting wrestling, so it gives me time to clean.
Well, you missed it. I named a couple of old hockey players, and you missed it.
Oh, Patrick Waugh. My first sports hero was Patrick Waugh when I was a kid. I started as a goalie in hockey.
And an Avalanche guy?
It was when he was on Montreal. Is when the love started. But then.
Yes. The Canadians.
Montreal Canadiens. Then he went to
Canadiens.
The Canadiens.
The Montreal Canadiens. Get over yourself. I mean, right? I mean, it's like calling yourself like the fucking Texas America.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
It's like get out of here with that. I mean, that's ridiculous. You don't get to be called the whole. You don't get to call the whole country.
And they don't even in Quebec. They don't even want to be part of Canada. They want to be their own separate nation.
They want to be the Montreal Quebecois.
Yeah, exactly. So it's great. But they named that team when there was 3 teams in hockey in 1905.
Sami Zayn speaking of Canada, Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. A man from Canada, a man from very close to the Canadian border. The Spokane versus Calgary, Alberta. So Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan for the IC title. I think Daniel Bryan's gonna let Sami Zayn pin him, right?
You think?
It'll be schmozzy, right? He'll have like Shinsuke, like
yes,
give him a Kinshasa. All right, whatever. I don't think Daniel Bryan should lose to Sami Zayn. He should be able to just beat Sami Zayn every time.
Right.
Especially Sami Zayn in this zone. Alistair versus Bobby. I think Alistair will win.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Alistair will win that match. They're trying to get Alistair over. Otis versus Ziggler.
Bobby.
I think they're going to let Otis beat Ziggler clean, right? That's the story here. It's like the "you stole my girl" story. Mandy on a pole match.
Man.
I wish.
Yeah, Mandy. What is Mandy's role in this? She's just in Ziggler's corner.
Yeah, she's Ziggler's
she's the
babe.
Sex pot babe.
Yeah. That's
one of the matches I'm the most excited for. The comments because Ziggler's involved, but also I think those guys have legitimate angle going that people were pretty invested in.
Yeah, people were upset with Ziggler that Friday.
Yeah.
Right after we saw him in studio, he snaked us all and stole Mandy.
The guy's a snake. What can I say? I mean, he's a good friend, but he's a poor lover.
Snake.
Elias Corbin, who cares? Hopefully Elias wins. Although Baron Corbin, there's a GIF flying around of one of his an end of days he gave to Gable that is so good. The end of days is such a good move.
Yeah, but he doesn't. The wrestler doesn't. Does the wrestler get a bump in credibility from how cool his finisher is?
Well, some people say it. It does help for me, but it's not going to be enough.
Right.
It does help. Some people, it's hilarious. I think maybe it's Susan Lloyd. One of the listeners says that every time she sees it, it looks like Corbin giving himself a rock bottom.
Yeah.
It is true. It's the same impact as a rock bottom, but hurts the opposite guy.
It's all about intention.
But Corbin actually shadily, has some good moves. I mean, Corbin, I've said Corbin's pretty good. He's pretty good. I get why he has a job. I get why he's got a job there.
Why he's employed.
Yeah, I get why he's employed. I just don't understand why he gets all the good shifts. You know what I mean? I get why he's on the staff, but I don't know why he gets the good shift. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, he's off Saturday again? Corbin's off Saturday again?
It's ridiculous. A morning shift again? Come on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. When was the last time Corbin closed?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys know that Corbin's out at 6 p.m. every night? I mean, that's the perfect way to describe Corbin. That's what it is. He's a guy. He's a pretty good employee. He does a good job. But he's getting he's getting the special treatment from the boss.
Not nice.
Anyway, Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Excited to watch this match. I'm not feeling the feud. Like I haven't clicked into it like an Edge Orton feud, although that's a very tall task. It's unfair.
Mm-hmm.
But the thesis of this feud, I don't follow really. And I'm sure it's in the words, but I'm zoning out. It's like a lot of this is what happened. Sometimes our podcast listeners in the Facebook group talk about wrestling at 4 a.m. Underside must be the fruit, but yeah, sometimes the listeners, I'll say yeah, I don't really understand what's going on with that feud, and then they're like, well, what, have you not been listening? Tulo does this to me too now, where he's like, you're not listening. They laid it all out clearly. I'm like, yeah, maybe, but it's sandwiched between so much trash, and it's like it's not. First off, the clarity of it is it's muddled. And also, sometimes I'm bored. I'm not interested. It's like Rollins, whatever Rollins, I'm sure if you listen to the words of Rollins, you could decipher anything. I mean, people read old scriptures that make no sense and find all this deep sense from it and blah blah blah, right? I'm not being specific about any scriptures. I'm not insulting your scriptures.
The religious community.
No, I'm not. I said scriptures. It's a very vague term. Vague scriptures, right? Scriptures could be vague.
Scripture.
Absolutely. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's so like, for example, I was talking to Shebs and we were talking about the Dark Order, you know, and he's just like, yeah, Dark Order breaks every rule of comedy, right? Like writing comedy. It's like it's a bunch of unusual ideas, and none of them. There's no clarity to what it is. And then we have listeners who are writing whole theses about the meaning of the Dark Order. About like, here's what it is. It's an allegory for Vince and blah blah blah, right? And I'm like, I'm not knocking either, but I tend to lean towards giving it less. There's less behind it than you think, you know.
I'll say this: I think that it is possible that it is an allegory for Vince, and that because I saw that post. But
I love the post, by the way. I just want to say I love the overthinking of it all, you know.
Right, but that is, if that is true, it is 1,000% something they just came up with, like a moment before they filmed that stuff. It's not being thought about.
And by the way, I'm all for that. It's one of the beauties of pro wrestling. It's why, and Newman, actually, this is a conversation we should have, but one of the beauties of pro wrestling is falling into something like that works. And that's part of pro wrestling, because the crowd reacts to something, and then you respond to that. And you're like, oh, they like this. Oh, wow. Oh, well, we can use this other thing to feed into what they're actually responding to. Oh, and accidentally this wrestler was cutting a promo. Even if it's scripted, they say a word in a weird way. And then all of a sudden people take it differently. And it's like, oh, well, let's use that. That connects to this other thing that happened. That happens in wrestling. That's part of the beauty of pro wrestling, is that it's kind of on the fly like that. You can always pivot and blah, you know, the shows are all, they're written, right? So, like Newman, we were talking about the Montreal Screwjob, and you think it's a work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or it's a work.
I believe it strongly to be a work.
Okay. And I think it's not a work, right? And my thing is, as a performer, the amount of times I've had coincidences, it's so high. The amount of times I've had it where so many things fall into place where if one of those didn't happen, it wouldn't have worked, you know? Like, it's like, oh my God, we caught that. Like, for example, the stunner at my stand-up special or whatever.
Oh my God. Yes.
Right. Erin was there the whole time pretty much. I don't know exactly, but
I was there
I promise you guys that was not a work. I did not plant this guy.
It was not a work. I have the proof in an email. Like, it's for real.
I can't believe it. And you know what? I was laying there on the ground. Ziggler gave me a super kick, and I was like, yo. And if you don't know what we're talking about, check out adultwrestlingfan.com. It's my stand-up special it's all pro wrestling material. I was laying on the ground, and I was like, fuck, that kick did not pop people enough. This is a weird way to end. And then this guy gave me this end. And then also, we didn't have footage of it. We had an extra GoPro that I happened to put on the stage, or somebody did.
That was Nick Tulo's GoPro that he set up on the edge of the stage.
And he was like, "I'll just put it facing this way." And it's the only footage we have of it is a random GoPro, and it's the only footage from the whole night that we even used from this GoPro.
So
and it's
weird.
You know what I'm saying? And so my mind, I kind of like, but that's just what I'm saying is that but I also tend to be someone who doesn't believe in conspiracy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm someone who doesn't believe evil. Like, sometimes, like you'll hear about these, like, men it's mostly men, let's be real, but in the news who are fucking evil. And I'm like, come on. Like, my brain at first is like, who would do that? Right? But then I'm like, yo, Dan, take a step back. Conspiracies do happen. People, like, this shit is, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just be like, nah. You can't always be like, nah, that didn't happen. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I just think on that point, it's just only because, and I will say this, I think that the fact that the guy stunned you somehow weirdly makes me think that maybe the screw job isn't a work, because it's like, crazy shit happens. Yeah. And it does it makes sense that, like, Vince would do that.
Well, like, it's not that weird that they're filming a documentary about Brett.
Right.
That's not that weird, but also there's another way to look at it that it is weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's right. I get it, but it's like, so I have no idea. But I also think that it's the same thing as when you watch, like let's go there, watch like Loose Change or something, right? Like a documentary about 9/11, and you're like, yeah, this was the plan. I'm like, you know what? I saw George Bush cut a lot of promos. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't think he's capable. That plan is so elaborate. You know, I'm like, you know, but again, what do I don't know. Well, I'm just telling you what I think, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Anyway,
yeah, I mean,
what was I talking about? Why did I bring up conspiracies?
You're talking about unexpected, like stuff falling into your lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the weird thing in wrestling is like that's so many times. Wait, but why did I get to that? We were talking about Corbin for a while.
I was looking at work email. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Why did I? Why? But I know. But why? I wonder why. All right. Whatever. But so many things in wrestling fall into place where I think that's kind of a weird thing. It's like sometimes wrestlers get opportunities just from that kind of just timing, you know? And so I see timing work against a wrestler right now, which is a kind of Drew, where it's like there's a chance Drew never becomes champion because of this. That's how fickle wrestling is, you know?
Yeah.
That it just keeps moving.
He just loses heat, and there's a chance that whoever wrestles Goldberg becomes champion, and they never ever had a chance of being champion. You know, that's wrestling. You know, Johnny Mundo became the champion of ECW because of Benoit killing his family. You know,
right? Truly, anything can happen.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of weird that way. Anyway, so I think because we were talking about, I know why, the Dark Order. That's what we were talking about, the Dark Order, where it's like right. I think Shebs is more right, where he's like, this thing is all over the place, even though I like it. And I described Shebs what I like about it, and he was like, you know what? That is cool. You're describing a completely different faction that doesn't. You've just fantasy booked your own faction that's called the Dark Order. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You're kind of right. You're like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's a really good point. But anyway, so but anyway, so it's you know, we were talking about the Dark Order and how things fall into place. All right, what do we talk about? Edge Orton. I mean, Edge is just gonna win, right?
I think so.
What's the benefit of Edge? He can't lose, right? There's no benefit in Edge losing, right? That's just a classic. Send him home happy. Right, cool. Who cares? I don't really care about the women's tag belts. I think I don't know. There's no whatever. I would keep them on Kabuki Warriors personally.
I'm with that.
But I don't know. I'm not that vested in that, unfortunately, for them. And anyway, that's it. Those are 14 matches I have. I honestly might miss a match. I'm purposely not looking at the Wikipedia page. Yeah. But that's 14 matches. It makes sense. That's a normal length of a WrestleMania card. And they normally go about 7 hours, 8 hours, something like that. And they'll split it up into 2. That makes perfect sense.
They're going to take an 8-hour show and turn it into 2 5-hour shows with no crowd.
Oh man. I will say, so yeah, that's WrestleMania. It's going to be, I think, it's going to be a fun time. Let's be honest. We're going to have a nice time considering we've all accepted that we're in this weird zone right now. We know we're stuck in it till at least April 30th. It's going to be a lot longer than that, in my opinion. But we know at least till April 30th we're stuck in this. So given that, we get to watch this thing. So that's going to be, it's going to be fun. Yeah. We're going to see some matches. It's going to, Taker AJ is the only match in there. So it's 15 matches. I think Taker just beats AJ. There's no benefit to AJ beating Taker in front of no one in a boneyard match, in his own kind of match. There's just nothing.
In a boneyard match. Hell yeah.
Speaking of Taker, there's pictures of him with not the Tiger King, but that other fucking lunatic.
Oh, with Doc Antle. Bhagavat Antle.
Wow. That guy needs his own doc separately, I think.
I think Taker was there chilling with the Tigers like not that long ago.
Do you guys? I don't even have this thing of like. I'm like, I don't even need to like be like chill. Like, I don't need a picture with a tiger. Is that weird? Like, I don't need a picture with a tiger. Do I need that?
I don't want a picture with a tiger. They should not be in a position to have their photos taken, right?
But we're talking about Tiger King, it's a great watch. You know,
it's a good kind of a train quarantine wreck. Watch.
Yeah. And it's but what do you? I don't need a picture with a tiger.
Mm-mm. I would never want to go to one of those places. Like, it just is like probably smelly and sad.
When I was a kid, my grandparents would take me to this place, which they mention in the documentary.
Is it a place in Jersey?
No, no, it's in Florida. My parents lived in West Palm Beach. It's called Lion Country Safari.
Oh, wow.
And it was, I didn't even realize, now I'm thinking about it, it's a private zoo. I mean, private zoos? Why do we need private zoos? What? That just, yeah. Anyway, this documentary is nuts. I mean, calling it it's nuts. Watch it, but
it's definitely worth a viewing.
Taker obviously took pictures with those tigers, and you can see the pictures online. If you watch a Tiger King, check it out. It's Tiger. You can see Taker with Michelle McCool and a bunch of tigers. You know,
that seems like a very on-brand Taker in real life activity.
Well, because when I was watching this documentary, I was like, in my head, I was like, I never, the thing that disgusts me the most is people taking pictures with big game that they've killed,
Right. Yeah. Yes.
That behavior is like, there's just no excuse for that. Nothing. No excuse. Killing endangered species, you should be hunted. You should be hunted.
I love that idea.
Especially when it's like some piece of shit, whatever. These gorgeous animals, I can't handle it. I can't. It's what is the sport of shooting a lion? They don't even move. They basically sit all day. Whatever. I have no tolerance for that. But then this documentary made me take it to the next level where I'm like, I don't need to go near these things ever either.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, I also don't feel the need to see these. Like, I'll see them, but I'm like, I don't need to like hold one. This is another thing I'm disconnecting with people's. They were like, I got to hold one of these. I mean, I do it if someone held me one or whatever, but.
You wouldn't go seeking it out.
No.
I like the one guy who was like, I was here yesterday. Like, I come here all the time. I'll pay these guys as much money as they want for me to hold a baby tiger. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That guy's like $2 million away from his own private zoo.
Yeah. Well, anyway, whatever. Check it out. But anyway, I will say this, is that I watched the I watched the Benoit doc just to end on a tragic note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. I recommend it, especially I mean, it's hard to watch. It's a troubling watch. Watching it during quarantine, not the best. But I'll check it out. It's on Vice if you haven't seen it. Dark Side of the Ring. Chris Benoit is I mean, it's everything you talk about. The thing about it is interesting is they kind of get into the CTE of the whole situation.
Yeah. The CTE thing is interesting and scary because
they look at his brain. Yeah, his brain is like a destroyed brain. But whatever. Check it out. It's worth watching. If you like sad stuff. Yeah. Here's a positive thing I'll end on. Okay. Mm-hmm. We got WrestleMania this week. That's awesome. The Rock's in quarantine right now, and he's taking Q&A from the listeners, his fans. And The Rock is like talking. He gives a whole 15-minute video in his jacked, by the way. I mean, he's on another level of jacked right now. He talks about how much Stone Cold and his feud with Stone Cold meant to him. It's a 15-minute video talking about WrestleMania 15, 17, and 19. And he talks about how Stone Cold could barely like walk to the ring, but he was like, I got to go out and put over The Rock, for my last match. And one thing about Stone Cold that I really respect, his last match was his last match. Mm-hmm. But yeah, The Rock's posting a bunch of videos. He talks about breaking into Hollywood, coming out of wrestling. We're getting a lot of great monologues from The Rock. The guy, the busiest schedule in the world from nothing to do. We're getting some great shit out of The Rock. So check that out. And check out Wrestlemania. It's going to be a weird one. I think there'll be some highlights. I think we'll see a moment or two of, wow, that was awesome. They know they got to do that. And, the bummer is that we won't get a real WrestleMania this year, which I think is their mistake. But, hopefully all the wrestlers – my main concern with this WrestleMania is that all these wrestlers are safe, I hope these guys are – who flew back and forth. We're lucky, didn't contract anything. We're given the proper gloves, mask, whatever they needed to get to do what they did, and I hope they're all okay. That's my main focus with the thing. But assuming that, I hope they all have great matches that we get to enjoy, and they find ways to be creative. And we have some creative stuff. We have a boneyard match. I don't know what the hell that is. That should be cool.
Still don't know what a boneyard match is.
Yeah, we got a Firefly Funhouse match. We're going to get to see what it looks like for Bobby Lashley to take in Black Mass. Would be interesting. Can he spin fast enough to take one? I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting Mania. It's gonna be interesting. We'll see some titles change hands, and then the more interesting thing is what happens the Monday after Mania. That's more what I think is most interesting. I have no idea.
Nothing. Hopefully a pause.
And that's what I'm saying. If stuff pauses, don't worry. Cal will not be pausing. Will be, and to be honest, some of our most fun thing we've been doing Saturday night, watching old pay-per-views and going back, and we've been having fun. I think we'll find a way to we already have the Cal Movie Club going. We have tons of stuff we'll do. But remember, we're going to be watching WrestleMania live on Twitch, twitch.tv/DanBlackAttack. You guys could pop in to the feed, and we're going to be having some fun LaCroix drinking games. Get a bunch of Taco Bell. We're going to be having Taco Bell eating games. It's going to be real fucking fun and real weird. Get ready to tell Shebs what a piece of shit he is and how bad you are. But everybody, happy WrestleMania. Normally, I would say this is our Christmas. I'd be telling you about how excited I am to wrestle Hassan. If there's any silver lining, we have Hassan can recover fully from this, and maybe Hassan will get to wrestle for the Cal Heavyweight Championship when we can put that on the line. Maybe SummerSlam weekend. I don't know. Who knows? Really, no one knows. But everybody, enjoy your WrestleMania, and hopefully, this is the weirdest WrestleMania go-home podcast we ever do. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Everybody, keep watching wrestling. Kisses. Happy WrestleMania. Cheers up.